Good day, folks. It's David Dahlia coming again from Southgate Travel Adventures. One of the questions people ask me all the time are, how do we find our travel deals? We'll be on a cruise. We'll be speaking to someone that might have spent $10,000, $20,000 for a cruise that we spent maybe two or three for. And they'll say, well, how do you do this? And it takes work. There's not a magic thing. I can't just suddenly say, oh, today I'm booking a cruise. It has to be the Mediterranean and it has to leave from Malaga, and this is it. At that point, you're locked in. It's very hard to kind of shop the deals and look for opportunities. You have to have a way to remain flexible. We're researching all the time. We travel in the winter primarily, and even in the summer, we're researching trips for the fall and for the winter and how we can connect trips. The key with us is flexibility. My wife and I are retired. If we want to go on traveling next week, we can probably do that. So when you have that flexibility, it's good, but we also know that we can book 6 months, 8 months, 12 months out, and we're going to be free, right? So it's great to have flexibility. If you don't, you can still have flexibility with your destinations. It doesn't have to be just on certain travel dates. You can have your flexibility with destinations. Instead of the Mediterranean, maybe you want the Greek Isles, or maybe you want to do Caribbean. Who knows? But if you have doing your research all along, you know when a good opportunity comes up and you'll pull the trigger. You don't need that time to research it. A good example is some flights that came up last spring here, and they were returned to from Halifax to Australia. They were about $1,000 to $1,200 return each on Air Canada. Is just like an amazing deal. But I hadn't done the research for Australia, and I was like not sure. I knew it was a great price for tickets, but I didn't know the other side of the package. I didn't book it. Those tickets were gone in 12 hours. They were just gone. They were just amazing opportunities. So I lost out, but as it turns out, if I would have booked then, I would have booked at a really bad time of the year in Australia. I would have been a time of the year where my accommodations would have been high, and it's very hot. It's like 40 Celsius there in the months that we were thinking about booking. So we just, it's better not to book if you haven't done your research. That's all I'll say. Flexibility, again, is important. Our personal priority, we chase the sun. In the winter, we're ready to go. In the spring and summer and fall, it can be amazing here in Nova Scotia, but we don't want to travel anywhere. The other thing is think outside the box, and I'll explain that in a travel deal that's coming up shortly. The sites we use for cruising, CruisePlum is just CruisePlum is just an exceptional site. It's fantastic, and I use that hand to hand with Google Flights. The two main costs for your trip are going to be cruise fare, and it's going to be flights. And so it's no sense having a low cruise fare if your flights are going to be off the charts expensive. So as I'm researching cruises, I got them both up, both windows up. I always want to work in the big screen. I never book anything using my phone. I might do like casual research on the phone, but never booking stuff. I want all the information. The other thing is traveling around the websites, the vendor websites. Deals are kind of hidden. Like you can see a cruise at two different prices on the same website. It happens. So you need a big screen. You have to be confident and practiced, I think is the term to go through these websites and do that. So they're the two main sites I do hand in hand. The other sites I would recommend is a 90-day ticker from one of the travel agencies in the States. You just book Google 90-day ticker. So 90 days before a cruise is the date that all fares have to be paid in full. So if you've put down a $100 deposit on a cruise and say, we're not going to do it, you just cancel the cruise, you've lost $100. A lot of people will do that. And so that creates a buying opportunity in a sense, because the cruise lines, if it's just a normal demand on a cruise, they're going to have to reduce some of those cruise cabin prices to get that book full out. They want to sell full. They want to make the money off you while you're on the boat. So if they have to sell you a cabin cheap, they'll do that. And they want to make the money up in the casinos, especially restaurants and excursions. Places, to be honest, we don't do spend much time there. But everyone likes to cruise differently. That's the way we cruise. The other vacation site in Canada that's excellent is Sell Off Vacations. If you have flexibility for last minute, it's not so much a cruise site. It's just the site that lately in the last 6 months there's been some fantastic deals for a land-based vacation. So you're going to fly, maybe to Mexico, and they'll have a package together that's pretty good, and it can be cheaper last minute than if you go to Air Canada and you go to Marriott and you try to put the same package together. You can get it cheaper in some of these liquidation sites. So there can be some good opportunities. Anyway, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take you through how I use CruisePlum and Google Flights together to book that cruise and to find those opportunities. So remember, please like, subscribe, and comment. If you any comments, anything you see that any questions you'd like clarified, let me know. I have the time. I love responding to comments. Okay, anyway, here we go. My strategy looking for cruises and doing my research, I use CruisePlum and I use Google Flights. And I can't use one without the other. I got to kind of know what my airfares are. That's a big component of my trip, and my cruise fares, obviously. So in this case, I know I'm interested in transatlantic in the month of April of 2025. So I can go, and they give me lots of options here, but for this, I just want to do my standard cruise search. And I want to start searching. It basically goes and kind of pulls down the pricing from via API from all the cruise lines. 2 passengers leaving Canada. I got the option of 1 row per cabin. So like for one particular cruise, it could be like 6 rows, depending on cabin type. It's kind of verbose, or 1 row per cruise, which to me just works better, especially if I'm on a monitor, big size monitor. It gives me plenty of information. So I want that, and it's efficient. So it prepares it. So it's running its tools. It's beginning to do the analysis. So I know I want my cruise dates to be April. That's just the month we get targeted. Um, the cruise type, the region that's where I'm going to find transatlantic. You can do your Caribbean cruises, what have you. This time we're looking at transatlantic. There's 65 of them in April. That's our 69. So there's 69 package cruises. In the case of MSC doesn't really they let you get off at various ports. So it might be truly just one cruise, but it might show up as like 5 cruises here. So you just got to be aware of that. Embark port, depart port. So I want to impart out of, in this case, I'm thinking Miami. So we'll do that just to make it simple. And we can go Florida, and we can do Miami. So there's 17 cruises soda there. And we can even go down the price. Basically, I don't want to pay over $300 a day for a transatlantic. There's so many Dead Sea days. That's really what I want to. That's what I want to pay. So I filter on price per day, and I see these, and this is really the price range I want to be in. And so we'll do that. And it's already filtered it down. Actually, there's MSC from Miami, and this is why I was saying it's the seaside. It's the same ship, but it's going over to various ports: Palmero, Valencia, Marseille, and Barcelona. That's just where they drop you off. The price per day is interesting because some of the ports just made it kind of weird, like it's 236 per day, and then you can stay on longer and get off somewhere else in Marseille, and it's 176 per day. So you got to look at this kind of pricing. Brilliance of the Seas is actually going too. That would be another option, and I might want to drill down into those cruises. But if you notice how the MSC, this is one, two, three, 4 cruises, whereas Brilliance of the Sea is just packaging Miami to Barcelona, and that's it. So it's a bit of a difference. I've just kind of got my eye on this cruise. And then more of the details in CruisePlum are here. So it breaks it down the pricing. So this is the cost per cabin per person. This is the discount that's currently available. So the base fares are at 25.20. Uh, Taxes is 430. Import fees, you can't change that. Tips are always expensive, kind of in transatlantic. It's the same cost per day. It's like $16 per day. But it's so many days that you end up paying a bigger, like here's a case where you're paying almost a complete cruise parent fare and tips, which to me is almost like at the 50% level. That's kind of a disadvantage of a transatlantic in a way. Um, and so the cruise comes out to 174 a day, which is great per day. Um, Kind of retirees are going to be the main people interested in something like this. And the price per day per person is $87. Um, Here's the history. This is a nice thing in CruisePlum. It gives you the whole history here of the cruise and how the pricing has been for all the category choices. And then it's kind of aligns the ports, all attractive ports to me, Caribbean here, and then a lot of Western Europe. Um, Great ports, interesting cruise. This is a very similar cruise that was canceled on us due to COVID in April, or yeah, it would have been April of 2020 that we had booked. So it gives you all the information. Oh, I know the ship. I kind of know what it is. The Seaside's a great ship built in 2017. We sailed on it once in 2020 on a Caribbean cruise. So it's a nice, attractive cruise. So the next thing I got to do is know the cruise date. So Miami, Florida, I probably want to be down 2 days in advance. So I'd probably be wanting to travel down on April 4th. So now I would go to Google Flights. I go Halifax to Miami, April 4th. Do my search, and I'm going to find Porter's doing that flight. I have a brother-in-law on the return flight from that now, I believe, actually, with one stop. And it's 3:48. Google will tell me I actually, if I go to Fort Lauderdale, I'll save some money. So I don't mind saving money, and that's not a bad way of saving money right there. So I'll change the airports, and suddenly the flight for the cruise is 224. The only problem here is this is like one carrying bag only. It's a little limiting. Um, but not terrible. Anyway, oh no, I'm sorry, that's United, and that they actually allow the carry-on, which is attractive to me. Porter, a great airline, but they this is going to be personal item only. So really, for me right now, that's a good deal. That's not bad. I can take a carry-on. I can fly down for 224. I'm interested in that, and it's the dates I want. That's going to work good. The other side of this is we're going to do Barcelona, Halifax, and my date is going to be no earlier than the 30th of April. So April 30th, I'm looking at the flight costs. Everything is about $600. So really, it looks like I got the option of uh, it's like 600 on the 30th. If I want to stay a little bit in Barcelona, price doesn't really change too much. Um, let's say I'm going to take the 30th. It should be fine. Self-transfer EasyJet, not crazy about that. Um, so I would probably be looking to this flight or possibly do some more research about where we could do it. It says there's a 5:39 flight. Let's see what that is. Yeah, that's another Vueling airline, the WestJet. They're not bad. I probably have good experience with them before. So I would consider that. Um, Yeah, so these might be good options. I would tend to do some more research, but basically I know I'm going to be probably flying for $600 each return from Barcelona to Halifax. I might look at some other options because that time of year there's some seasonal stuff that's starting in Halifax that are like maybe even Air Transat as a charter airline. They may have something there. So I would do some more research, but certainly on the flights down to Miami, I'm looking good. So
Really, I'm looking at for per person, six, seven, $800 each. Of the two one-way flights, I won't be looking at $1,600 in flights, and I'd be looking at um, just under $4,000 for the cruise fare. So worst case, I'd be looking at four, five, six, maybe $5,500. Then you get a couple hotels and those kind of things. So you'd be looking at 5 to 55, or around $6,000, just over $6,000 probably to do this. And if you wanted to spend some more time in Barcelona, you could do that. So these are the two tools I've had a lot of success with, and they work really good for me. I hope that helps.
If you made it through the booking video, you'll remember at the end of it. Really, the only loose end in the cruise that I had was the flights to Barcelona. They're a bit pricey. When I talked earlier about travel opportunities and thinking outside the box, one of the things that I would always consider doing is booking a return anyway. So, like in the case of Barcelona, from here, I know it's a flight I can get for $1,000. I can take my time and I can book it. Um, but then I have my return, so there's no reason why I can't fly out in April to meet my crew or to return from my cruise and return to Barcelona next fall, potentially to take the seaside back, or just to go and do a land-based trip and maybe go through Paris or Dublin or something like this and fly back to Nova Scotia. Uh, it can be end of season or book it for end of season, where I know some of those seasonal flights are finished up. WestJet, I believe, does Dublin to Halifax, so it may be a good opportunity to go Barcelona for some time in Spain, go to Dublin and back. So that's why I'm saying think out of the box, keep thinking about those opportunities. Anyway, I hope you found the video useful. Please subscribe, like, and any comments, I'd love to see them. Anyway, thank you. Have a great day.